Starbucks is not like most other large food services out there. They are the largest cafe shops in the world. Not only that, but the majority of their locations are company owned and operated. This is unseen in the industry. Not just the coffee industry, but the fast food industry, the food service industry. For Starbucks to own and operate so many locations is an incredible undertaking. But they've managed to do it with tons of success, and that's why they're so impressive. Well, because of that and many other reasons. But let's take a look at Starbucks. Hello, my name is Anthony Mendez, and in this video, we're going to explore the success of Starbucks, because I want to understand how they're able to sell such expensive coffee and so much of it. I mean, seriously, it's outrageous. Starbucks is certainly a premium product, but they sell like if they were a budget option. I don't know, Starbucks to me seems kind of like Apple. They are very expensive. They do offer the best, but they're still very expensive, yet they sell like crazy. Anyway, we're going to take a look at Apple in another video, so if you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe. But for this video, let's get back to Starbucks. It all started in 1971. In the beginning, the company was owned by Gordon Bowker, a writer, Jerry Baldwin, an English teacher, and Zev Siegel, a history teacher. However, it's nothing like it is today. At the time, the vision for the company was very different. The company did not sell brewed coffee. All they sold was fresh roasted coffee beans to espresso bars and fine restaurants, in addition to equipment like coffee dripper machines and different coffee makers. But they had nothing to do with brewing coffee. In fact, they never sold a cup of coffee in the beginning. The only times they did have brewed coffee was for samples inside of their stores, but they were not sold. In 9 years, the company only opened about 4 locations, selling only coffee beans and equipment. But the company was starting to build reputation for being a quality product, being the best. However, in 1980, partner Zev Siegel decided to leave the company. But the other 2 partners were still left, and Baldwin assumed the role of president. Wait a second. Where is Howard Schultz? Isn't Howard Schultz the founder and owner of Starbucks? I mean, isn't he? Don't panic. Howard Schultz is coming. In 1981, Howard Schultz became aware of the Starbucks company. He worked as a salesman at Hammerplast. Howard Schultz noticed that they were making very large orders for their drip coffee makers, and he was impressed. So Howard Schultz decided to visit the Starbucks company. After getting to know the company, Howard Schultz pretty much fell in love with the company and wanted to join them. 1 year later, Howard Schultz was hired as head of marketing. Howard Schultz made great contributions to customer satisfaction and service. But his greatest idea would come 1 year later in 1983. Howard Schultz made a trip to Milan, Italy, and was impressed by the cafes in Italy. Howard Schultz saw the lack of this in the United States and was excited to propose this idea to the owners of Starbucks. Howard Schultz wanted them to open cafes, but Baldwin and Bowker did not share the same enthusiasm. They didn't believe it was a good idea. However, Schultz was very confident that this would work, and he wanted to do it. So he continued to try to convince them to do it. However, they wouldn't budge. So for 2 years, Howard Schultz tried to convince them, but finally gave up. Howard Schultz decided to leave the company and start his own. He started Giornali. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But it was a cafe, just as he had imagined for the US, and it was an instant success. Schultz rapidly expanded into multiple cities, but Howard still admired the Starbucks company and really liked it, so that was no surprise that 2 years later in 1987, when the company was offered for sale, Howard Schultz jumped on the opportunity and bought the company. Howard Schultz would then assume all of his operations and business under the Starbucks name. Starbucks began to skyrocket in success, and their differentiation made them wildly successful. In 1992, the company went public, and in 1996, Starbucks began to expand into other countries. Starbucks continued to refine their service, their product, everything to make Starbucks the perfect experience. The name Starbucks began to carry its own weight, and in 2003, Starbucks began to offer food to make it a one-stop shop for your morning routine. And this was very successful for them, and their growth continued to be exponential. In 2016, Howard Schultz stepped down as CEO and was replaced by Kevin Johnson. A couple of years later, in 2018, he also stepped down as chairman and was replaced by Myron Ullman. Starbucks has accomplished to do very well in their industry. The general consensus is that they are some of the best, although some people would disagree with this, but the general consensus is that they're pretty good. They're also pretty expensive, so I consider them a premium product. Some of you might think, oh, they're not that expensive. It's just, a couple bucks or something like that. But they are kind of expensive. I mean, I deduced the premium aspect from their margin. The average margin for a food industry is around 18%. And Starbucks' margin is more than 4 times as much, with being, in some cases, over 80%. So yeah, it's definitely a premium product. I mean, in comparison, you could just make coffee at home. I spend maybe $5 and I drink coffee for the whole month. Going to Starbucks is just throwing away your money. I know Starbucks is really good and they offer some great stuff, but it's very expensive. All right, but that's personal, nothing important, nothing about, it's just, I don't know what I'm rambling about. So let's sum up. Why is Starbucks so successful today? Well, number one, they were the first to do something like this in the US market, and they have a very unique concept in their business, at least at the time. Now there's a lot of other competitors trying to do the same thing, but Starbucks was the first to do it here in the US and was able to differentiate themselves with that. And Starbucks, like every other large food service business, is very strategic with their locations. 3, the Starbucks company focuses on creating the very best experience with design, quality, service, and much more that is unparalleled in the industry. 4, their prices are high. They are a premium product, and they've established themselves in the mind space of the people that they are quality, that they are premium, something to be desired, something special and unique. And finally, Starbucks hasn't stopped innovating since they were created, or at least since Schultz took over. This innovation is likely ensuring the long-lasting business and their continued success throughout the next couple of decades. Anyway, the Starbucks story is one to admire, to learn from, and that's why I wanted to talk about it today in this video. If you liked the video, make sure to subscribe. There'll be more videos like this coming up, and if you have any suggestions, leave them down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.